Gravitas, controversies that rocked the Queen Elizabeth's reign. This might be a pretty good highlight reel of it. But as far as like the Queen's personal involvement, aside from whitewashing the crimes of the empire and routinely trying to stop decolonization from happening at a time when like all of these other former colonies were trying to escape the grasp of British colonial superpower in the aftermath of World War II, when they did not have enough money and power to continue the upkeep, right? She personally went and tried to stop those efforts. She's dead, bro. Yeah, I know. But immediately, if you want like the fucking high notes, she took money from the poor to make sure that the lights were on and all the goddamn castles that she owns. The entire family is ridiculously wealthy and should not. Okay? What? Show some respect. The English gave you the chair you were sitting on. Communist PogChamp in the country you live in. True. She also had a lot more influence over the government than people think she did, for the record. Okay? That is, like, people that don't recognize that are so silly. It turns out she had a say in more than 1,000 fucking different pieces of legislation in the UK. She tried to hide her wealth from the public eye. She spent more than $10 million in the legal defense funds for Prince Andrew, who is a pedophile. Okay, she was still sheltering Prince Andrew from authorities. Like, a lot of people think like, oh, it's just symbolic. It's just symbolic. Like, what do you mean? It's just symbolic. She's just a symbolic person. That's not how it fucking works. They also actively stopped black and brown people from working in the fucking... They actively stopped black and brown people from working in the palaces. Like, they were... they were racist. Yes, I am trending. I saw. People are upset. Especially this one I saw. All right, guys, time to pack it up. I don't know why it won't let me quote tweet it, though. Your drafted tweet will be discarded before you quote tweet. No, I don't want to fucking retweet it. I want to quote tweet it. They said Hasan and Charlie Kirk should trade heads because they need a normal portions. I mean, that's true. You know when Michael Scott gets pissed when people are more upset by Ed Truck, the old manager? What? Do you have an unfinished tweet in another open tab? I don't think I do, but maybe. Okay. DSA International Committee put out a Twitter thread, which we went over already, like as far as the Queen's personal involvement in crimes against Yemen, when South Yemen, a colony, was being brutalized by British forces. She was the figurehead of that brutalization. She was the one who was there to whitewash said crimes and try to stop people from actually getting reaching freedom and emancipation. British Empire's crimes against South Africa. We've already talked about that. British Empire's crimes against Afghanistan. There are crimes against Kenya we talked about. Kenyans are suing Britain for up to $200 billion in reparations for land theft and violent colonial abuses. With multinational corporations still occupying the land, former Chief Justice of Kenya, Willie Mutunga, explains how it's like the British never left. And for people who say goofy, says, wasn't she just young and a puppet for old white men? The fuck do you mean? Don't try to put a fucking feminist spin on it, dude. Don't do this like baby shit. Oh, she was a widow baby. She was a widow baby. She was like, she didn't know what she was doing. Oh no, the queen was a little baby. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Oh, she was just a girl boss. She was just girl bossing. She was a small bean. She kept doing it when she was a fucking adult too. That's literally propaganda from the Crown TV show on Netflix. Yeah. British Empire's crimes against Malaysia. Sir Gerald Templer was appointed a High Commissioner to Malaysia in 1952, who crushed the communist insurgency using tactics such as internment camps, new villages, spraying Agent Orange over forests, and using dyax to decapitate suspected rebels. They literally fucking... They did this, and the Queen oversaw it as like the head of state, obviously. And they were fighting against communism, so it was appropriate. Some of the countries, every time I come in here, you're crying about something. Hasanabi's a professional crier. Yes. I cried after I fucked your mom last night, too. You know, I'm in touch with my emotions. Maybe you should think about it as well. In 1954, the Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal and expelled the French and British that were controlling and operating for 100 years prior. 3 days later, the UK, France, and Israel bombing the living shit out of the coastlines of the canal and killing thousands of people and destroying its infrastructure. And the attacks did not stop until the intervention of the President Eisenhower a month later. I have not watched The Crown, no. Fighting communism is a good thing. I mean, at least this guy's like honest. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just people are like, oh, are you rebelling and trying to reach emancipation? Are you trying to free your countrymen from the treacherous subjugation of British colonial power? Well, you can't do it and also simultaneously free your shackles from the additional oppression that capitalism creates for you, which you still live under and you experience. So that's my point, is like people literally think that there is a secondary element to this in defense of the Queen. Okay? The secondary defense of this is that, well, she was doing the right thing, because a lot of people, especially people living in the imperial core, and we're going to get to this in a second, people living in the imperial core think that this is appropriate, this is a good thing, because they think colonizing and colonial superpowers actually ended up modernizing these barbaric forces. It's Orientalist. It is the underlying attitude that has defended imperialism in perpetuity. It's just how things are done, right? That's part of the reason why so many fucking people are like, yeah, it's technically a good thing. It's the same energy as Americans saying, well, if chattel slavery didn't happen, you guys would be back in Africa to black people. That is an incredibly fucked up and incredibly racist fucking take. And yet that kind of attitude manifests. It's this notion that, like, without colonialism and without just centuries of warfare and destabilization and an extraction of natural resources from Africa, that Africa would have still been not as technologically adept as like the rest of the fucking world. That's what people say. People legitimately think that. And that kind of attitude manifests when you are born and bred in the imperial core. So a lot of people continue with the narrative, with the underlying idea and narrative that, you know, the empire had a civilizing force. Okay? So make no mistake, these guys and the BBC and everyone else that's like caping for the fucking royals are operating. RTBA, I know your fucking queen died, but stop posting weird links, okay? I need your critical eye to tell me this is real or fake. No cheating with Google. Yes, it is real. That is the Queen's cabin that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell was at. Yes, that is a real thing. That's not fake. Anyway, but like I was saying, the underlying attitude, the immediate interest, the immediate want in defending someone in a position of power and like defending their legacy, even if that legacy is filled with racism, filled with defense of pedophiles, filled with whitewashing imperial endeavors in perpetuity, okay? It does not matter. You still got to fucking respect that institution. You still got to defend them. Even if you are an American, and there's nothing more cucked and disgusting to me than an American who capes for the monarchy, okay? And the reason why I say that is because at the top of the hour, there's a 60-second ad break. Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. And you can do that for $5 or for free. Don't be cucked to the top of the hour ad break. Fight back against it with a $5 a month subscription or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account or getting someone else's Amazon Prime account. Use the Queen Lizzie's Amazon Prime account and connect it to your Twitch account. She's not using it anymore. Or maybe if you're lucky, you get gifted a sub. Like Ashton Dashing just gifted 5 gifted subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. Anyway. How do you go abroad and think you're civilizing people that wash their ass with water while you're just using some sticks and straw? I mean, yeah. That's the elitist attitude. So let's see what these fucking cowardly cucks. God's third leg with the 50 big ones. Holy shit. Thank you, God's third leg.